Welcome back to Clout 941. We're here with Sarasota School Board member Frank Kovach. Frank, thanks for coming on the show.
You're very welcome. Glad to be here.
All right, Frank, we got a lot of stuff to cover. Not a lot of time to do it, so let's hurry up. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, sort of what you do for a living, and your family?
Okay. Well, I've been married to a terrific lady, Joni, for 32 years now. We've got 4 kids. We've got 5 grandkids and a 6th on the way. I'm a state licensed air conditioning contractor. Also do a lot of real estate investing. And that's kind of me.
You know, when I think about the school board, I think about an incredibly thankless job where you take a lot of heat, don't really see a lot of rewards there. I mean, when you first thought about wanting to run for the school board, why? Well, why did you want to be on the school board?
Well, you know, I was always kind of taught that, you know, if you're not happy with politics, rather than complain, get out there and run. So I wasn't happy with a lot of decisions, didn't think it was being run in a very business-like manner. And so I ran for that reason. Also, with my air conditioning background and the trades, I was really interested in career and technical education, and I didn't think we were serving that segment of the population very well. So wanted to make sure we got our budget act together and wanted to see more done in career and technical education.
Just a few years ago, we didn't even have a technical high school. If you're a high school student and you wanted to go into those fields, I guess you really didn't have many options. And now, of course, we have this beautiful state-of-the-art building. Is that something that you were heavily involved in?
Oh, absolutely, and I'm just thrilled to death with the fact that it's there. And I think Dr. Putnam's doing a terrific job over there, and we've got our first class, and I have great hopes and dreams for what happens with that school.
Okay, Frank, we want to find a little, before we get to the big issues, we want to find a little bit about you as a person. Why don't you tell us what your all-time favorite movie is?
Probably one very few people have seen, probably The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly with Clint Eastwood.
Oh, my goodness. All right, well, that's a first. You're the first one who gave that. All right, how about what kind of music do you like? What's your favorite band?
I was a trumpet player in high school, so I've always enjoyed jazz and a lot of instrumental kind of stuff. Bands were, you know, a lot of 70s kind of stuff, Chicago and
yeah, you said trumpet.
Earth, Wind, and
Chicago.
Fire, that kind of thing.
All right, Earth, Wind, and Fire, okay. And how about, do you have a favorite restaurant in Sarasota that you really like?
Not really. We go to a whole lot of different places. We like to boat a lot, so we like any restaurant on the water, which is few and far between anymore.
I was going to ask you a hobby of yours. I guess boating. You just answered it.
Yeah,
huh?
boating, fishing.
Okay. All right. Last curveball type question. Find out a little bit about your background. How about if you could pick one famous person out there, either currently living or dead, that you could sit down and have lunch with, have a conversation with? Who would it be?
I think without a doubt, probably Abraham Lincoln.
That's mine too. Yeah.
I think he's just I think probably, in my opinion, one of the best presidents we've ever had. Was all about individual rights and responsibilities, and I think we've kind of got away from that.
Seems like the incoming President Obama talks a lot about Abraham Lincoln. Seems like he mentions him almost every day. So I guess he has high aspirations.
Let's hope.
Okay, now, one of the things that's always interested me, and when I first, studied in law school, how the schools were funded in Florida and how the whole system was set up, it was a mystery to me. I couldn't figure it out. Can you kind of educate me and some of the viewers exactly where the money comes from? Because I know it comes from a lot of different places.
Well, the majority of it comes from property taxes. In Florida, funding is either property taxes or sales taxes. We do have equalization of funding, which basically means property-rich counties like Sarasota County pay, quite a bit more of property taxes or quite a bit more of their funding than like a DeSoto County would, or a property-poor county. Basically, all that money's pulled together. We pay about
You mean it all goes into a state fund and then goes back out?
Pretty much. Actually, there isn't that transfer, but basically you have what they call a required local effort. That's what our millage rate on our property taxes is based on. But basically, state funding is based on a base student allocation, which currently is about $4,000 a student. So you could say, for simplistic reasons, for every student you have in the district, you get $4,000. Plus, there's a lot of categorical funding, class size reduction, transportation, a lot of other funding, but basically everybody gets the same dollar per student to spend. It's just property-rich counties pay a lot more of that than property tax poor counties.
And that's why you hear sometimes they refer to Sarasota County as a donor county.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Now,
but that is capped. It's it's capped at I think 75–80%. So you can't get to the point where you pay all of it. You do have a maximum. That's why you'll see. The last several years, when property values were escalating so much, I actually saw our millage rates go down because we were at that cap. So we were paying all we could possibly pay, and the rest of it is made up with sales tax.
Now, I heard that we're kind of hoping that the federal stimulus package has some money for us as far as the school system goes. How does that work? Where does that money come?
Well, currently we get out of a $400 million plus operating budget, we get less than $10 million of federal dollars, and that's almost entirely made up of special education dollars. I think what we're looking for with stimulus perhaps would be either pass-throughs through the state to help the state budget, which would help the local budgets, or some capital dollars. But quite frankly, do you really want somebody as inept as the federal government solving our problems?
Now, when you get money from the feds, I mean, does that money have to go to a specific thing?
Absolutely.
It does.
I mean, it has, unlike the banks, there's serious strings attached to the federal dollars that we get.
Now, we had some boom years back in, say, 2003, 2004, 2005, where I remember the teachers getting nice big pay raises and things like that. I mean, was there any thought back then that, this could all go south someday and we need to prepare for that? I mean,
well, there was one board member that was saying that year after year that the party can't last forever. When we first,
Frank?
when we first went out for the referendum, we were figuring it would raise $25 million a year. You probably remember that back in 2002.
Right.
It got to where it was pushing $70 million a year. But the problem was if we were making $70 million a year extra from the referendum, we were spending $80 million a year from the referendum, and just continuing to increase our budget. And when you increase a school board's budget, which is predominantly about 85% salaries and benefits, that means you add people. And when you add people, that means you made a commitment for the year after that and the year after that. And when you're using that with non-recurring funds and you're using reserves to make your budget be like using your savings every year to make your household budget. You can do it for a year or two, and that's what we're doing now, but it just doesn't make sense long term.
All right, when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about what that means for this year and next year.